A Venus flytrap that tried to hunt a rat would go extinct in a week. The energy cost of the chase would bankrupt the plant before it ever caught its meal. So why does Predator Badlands think a tree can hunt a yautja? Planet Genna is the movie's answer to extreme evolution. It's a death planet where everything evolved to kill. Tree roots burst from the ground to crush prey. Grass blades are made of glass shards. Plants shoot paralyzing spores that work on both organic aliens and synthetic androids. The movie sells this as hostile environment, creating hostile life through selection pressure. And selection pressure is real. It's why polar bears have white fur and cacti have spines. But Genna's biology violates the one law every living thing must obey: the energy budget. A plant that spends more calories hunting than it gains from the meal doesn't become a super predator. It starves. Evolution doesn't reward effort. It rewards efficiency. And when we apply that standard to Genna, the entire ecosystem collapses. We're going to examine why a planet that tries too hard to kill you would actually kill itself first. But the reason isn't just bad luck. It's a fundamental law of physics that Genna completely ignores. Plants are solar-powered organisms. That's not a metaphor. Photosynthesis converts sunlight into chemical energy, and it operates at roughly 1% efficiency. 1%. If a plant is a solar-powered calculator, a hunting route is a fighter jet. You can't run the jet on the calculator's battery. If you had to design a plant that actually could hunt, what would be its primary energy source? Tell me your best hard sci-fi solution in the comments. Now consider what active movement costs. Muscles require ATP, the cellular fuel that powers every contraction. Nerves require ATP to transmit signals. Coordinated hunting, tracking prey, timing an attack, crushing resistance, requires massive energy expenditure per second. A cheetah burns through calories at an absurd rate during a sprint. A plant trying to do the same thing faces an impossible math problem. Think of it this way. You're trying to win a Formula 1 race, but your engine runs on a single AA battery. It doesn't matter how good the driver is, you're not leaving the starting line. That's Genna's trees trying to hunt with photosynthesis as their power source. If a hunting root system burns 1,000 calories of stored energy to catch and digest prey that only provides 500 calories of nutrients, that plant is running an energy deficit. Natural selection eliminates energy-losing strategies within a few generations. The plants that waste resources on failed hunts die out. The plants that conserve energy survive and reproduce. Earth actually has plants that hunt, but they have a built-in fail-safe to prevent metabolic suicide. If they didn't have this specific 20-second rule, they'd be extinct by Tuesday. Venus flytraps don't chase flies. They sit motionless, waiting for an insect to trigger their trap. Even then, the trap only closes if the prey touches multiple hairs in sequence, a safeguard against wasting energy on raindrops or debris. This is the two-touch rule in action. The plant requires 2 distinct trigger hairs to be touched within 20 seconds before it commits energy to closing. 1 touch could be a raindrop or debris. 2 touches within that window indicate living prey. This failsafe exists because closing the trap costs the plant so much energy that a false alarm could set it back days in growth. Evolution built in a verification system to prevent metabolic bankruptcy. Pitcher plants are even more passive. They're basically attractive death pits. The insect does all the work by falling in. These plants evolved carnivory not because they're aggressive, but because they live in nutrient-poor soils. Eating insects supplements their nitrogen intake. But the energy cost of trapping is so high that they can only afford to catch tiny prey. A Venus flytrap that tried to hunt rats would bankrupt itself metabolically. Now apply that logic to Genna. Those tree roots aren't just moving, they're actively tracking, bursting through soil, and crushing prey with enough force to kill a predator. The energy expenditure would be astronomical. Even if the roots successfully digest their catch, the caloric return wouldn't cover the cost of the attack. You might argue that Genna's sun provides more intense radiation, giving plants a higher energy budget. But even with double or triple the solar input, the gap between energy invested and energy returned doesn't close. No amount of extra sunlight turns a passive energy collector into a viable active predator. Evolution favors the minimum viable adaptation. A plant doesn't evolve the deadliest possible defense. It evolves just enough defense to survive. A cactus grows spines, cheap, passive protection that costs almost nothing to maintain. It doesn't grow retractable claws. Genna's roots would starve within a season. The energy spent growing sensory organs to detect prey, maintaining the muscular tissue to execute coordinated attacks, and repairing damage from failed hunts would drain resources faster than any prey could replenish them. These aren't apex predators. They're evolutionary dead ends. If you think the hunting trees are a stretch, the movie's biggest biological sin happens when a plant spore hits an android. To understand why that scene is scientifically impossible, we have to look at how a cobra actually kills and why it fails against one specific animal. Let's examine those paralyzing spores. In the film, plant spores can paralyze both organic predators and synthetic androids. This isn't just bad biology. It's a fundamental misunderstanding of what a machine is. Toxins work by targeting specific biological receptors. Botulinum toxin blocks neurotransmitter release at nerve junctions. Ricin shuts down protein synthesis in cells. These are highly specific mechanisms that evolved to exploit particular vulnerabilities in Earth biochemistry. They wouldn't work on silicon-based life or organisms with completely different cellular machinery. A spore that paralyzes a predator would need to interfere with whatever neurotransmitter system that species uses. Assuming predators even use chemical synapses similar to Earth animals, the toxin would need to bind to their specific receptor proteins. That's already asking a lot from convergent evolution. But then the same spore paralyzes a Weyland-Yutani android. Androids don't have neurotransmitters, they don't have ion channels or enzyme active sites. They have electrical systems, hydraulic actuators, and synthetic processing units. A biological toxin that shuts down organic nervous systems has nothing to target in a machine. This is the part of the movie that usually makes me yell at the screen. What's the one science sin in a movie that you just can't forgive? Let me know in the comments, because even if you can ignore the spores, the next biological impossibility is even harder to swallow. For a universal toxin to work, it would need separate mechanisms for every potential threat. One pathway to disable organic biochemistry, another pathway to short-circuit electronic systems. That's not evolution, that's magic. Earth's most potent toxins are lethal because they're specific. They evolved to target the exact biological machinery of their predators. Remove that specificity, and the toxin stops working. The mongoose proves this. Cobras produce one of the deadliest neurotoxins on Earth. A single bite can kill a human in minutes. But the mongoose has a mutation in its acetylcholine receptors that prevents the venom from binding. The same toxin that's universally lethal to mammals simply doesn't work on a mongoose. If a small protein mutation can defeat a toxin that took millions of years to evolve, a spore that works on both organic predators and synthetic androids isn't evolution. It's fantasy. Genna's plants would need completely separate evolutionary pathways for every threat category: organic aliens, synthetic beings, mechanical systems. In nature, you can't be a jack-of-all-trades toxin and still be a master of murder. Now, let's talk about the glass grass. Earth plants do use silica for defense. Bamboo deposits microscopic silica crystals in its tissues, making it harder for insects to chew through. Horsetail plants, Equisetum, accumulate so much silica in their stems that pioneers used them as scouring rushes to scrub pots and sharpen tools. Stinging nettles coat their hairs with silica needles that inject irritants into skin. But these are microscopic structures embedded in normal plant tissue, not entire blades made of structural glass. Making glass requires energy. The plant has to extract silica from soil, transport it through vascular tissue, and deposit it in precise formations. That's a metabolic investment. Now imagine scaling that process up to create entire grass blades made of solid glass shards. The resource cost would be massive. You're not just reinforcing tissue, you're manufacturing a completely different material. But wait, if the grass is so deadly, why isn't the whole planet just a pile of dead bodies? Because evolution doesn't want a graveyard. If your defense kills 100% of grazers on contact, you've eliminated the herbivores that fertilize your soil through waste and decomposition. Their droppings return nitrogen. Their bodies feed the ecosystem. Evolution doesn't drive species toward mutual annihilation. It drives them toward balance. The optimal strategy isn't total war. It's just enough defense to discourage most grazers while tolerating a sustainable level of herbivory. Glass grass that kills everything doesn't win the evolutionary game. It starves in nutrient-depleted soil. So, if Genna is a biological impossibility, what does a real death planet look like? The answer isn't more teeth or faster roots. It's something much more efficient and much more terrifying. Passive lethality, extreme toxicity that doesn't require active hunting, hyper-efficient camouflage that lets predators ambush prey without wasting energy on pursuit, symbiotic traps where one organism lures prey into another's killing zone. Genna isn't an ecosystem. It's a gladiator arena designed for entertainment, not functional biology. And that's fine, until you try to tell us it's evolution. Remember that Venus flytrap trying to hunt a rat? It's still extinct. And as long as Genna ignores the energy budget, it's not a planet. It's just a very expensive movie set. Evolution optimizes for energy efficiency, not maximum lethality. A real death planet wouldn't waste resources on glass grass and hunting trees. It would use the cheapest, most passive defenses that still work, toxins that require no movement, camouflage that costs nothing to maintain, traps that let gravity do the killing. The truth is that physics doesn't care how cool your monster looks. If the energy budget doesn't balance, the ecosystem collapses. We break down the science behind the spectacle every week. Final verdict: if we dropped a Yautja and a human on Genna, the planet's own biology would collapse before either of them starved. I'm reading every theory in the comments.